Miami Mercenaries, really that's the double M. Born baller, baby boy, I be above the rim.
What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
Having fun. All of a sudden, LeBron says something to my husband. And I see this and I stand up and go, don't fucking talk to my husband.
I'm a man before anything and be a fan. And his response was, I'm sorry, I just wanted a Frosty. Because if you miss 2 free throws, I guess the fans get a Frosty.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim.
Family, welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Brought to you as always, it's your host, Justin, aka Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up. Follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513. On IG at JustBlaze513. On Facebook, search Above the Rim Podcast. Email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Family, tap in and leave me a voicemail. That line is always open. You already know, 908-718-1592. Make sure you're sending those voicemails, sending those emails. Let me know what's on your mind. Let me know your wild basketball takes, because you know I'm going to have mine. So make sure you send those in. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, family. I need y'all to go do that. Subscribe to the channel. Run up those comments. Run up those likes. Share the videos if you bang with me, because I appreciate y'all. Get the merch as well. Hoodies is on sale. You know that. Keep supporting. I appreciate y'all. Much love to who support. Stock up. It's hoodie season. Black History Month. So I'm going to show some support to the family, man. 20% off. All hoodies, all Above the Rim merch. All February, all Black History Month. All Black History Month. Go to the link in my bio on all social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, and all that. 20% off with the code BLK20. That's code BLK20. 20% off all Above the Rim merch. No reason not to support your brother. If you bang with the pod, support the fam. Let's get it. Let's get into this NBA talk, man. Solo episode, if you didn't notice already, man. I had to get a couple of my rocks off this episode. Because we've hit the quarter mark in this season. It's the Quarter Water Awards, as the title alludes to. But there's a couple of observations that I've had throughout the season, throughout this early season. We know a lot of teams are still getting their feet wet. A lot of teams are still finding their place, finding rotations, finding their groove and their rhythm into the season. But there's still a couple of observations that I've made, because there are a couple of early storylines to start the season. And to me, one of the first major headlines of the season has been Bradley Beal. Because I want to talk about these Wizards really quick, man, because I'm getting a little bit annoyed with the excessive Bradley Beal sympathy. I feel like this free Beal train is getting a little bit out of hand. Now, is he balling? Yes, obviously he's balling. Number 1 scorer in the league, averaging 35 a game, but the Wizards are the biggest disappointment in the league this season. It's got to be. They're last place in the East right now with 2 all-star caliber players on their roster. That doesn't sit right with me. And Beal doesn't get to run away from taking a little bit of that heat. It's not all on Russ. Now, let's keep it a stack. It's definitely not all on Russ. Now, scoring is one part of the game, but it isn't everything. Bradley is killing on the offensive side of the ball, dishing from time to time, but he's not really impacting the games enough as a leader, in my opinion. And that's how you get wins in this league. As a leader of this Washington Wizards franchise, is he making his teammates better and getting them to maximize their strengths on the floor? Is he keeping his teammates' spirit high so that they have to go to war with you every night and that they want to go to war with you every night? Is he commanding the offense and having it run strictly through him so that he can have more control over the outcome? The simple answer right now to me is no, in my opinion. He's getting his buckets, yes, but he's disappointed with the outcome of these games. Now, a few times I've seen in a couple of these losses, well, in a lot of these losses, I've seen a little bit of poor body language coming out from Bradley Beal. And honestly, I rarely see it from Russ. Now, even when Russ is playing like shit, his body language is still not affected. His body language is still the same. He's still aggressive. He's still attacking. He's still angry Russ. He's still got that spirit that we know, that fire that he needs. But Bradley Beal, from time to time, when the Wizards are losing, when the Wizards aren't playing well, when they're getting dominated from time to time, I see him shrugging his shoulders, throwing the ball out of bounds, throwing the ball under the backboard, visibly showing frustration as the leader of the team. And to me, when you're the leader of the team, you can't visibly show frustration in that matter when you need your teammates' spirits to be high because you guys are underachieving. Now, I need Bradley Beal to do a little bit more, and I need him to take the reins than just score if he wants to save the season for the Wizards. Now, we know Bradley Beal's all-NBA caliber player, all-star level caliber player. He's a winning player, but he's not doing everything that constitutes winning basketball right now. So you see Dame, you see the Blazers are having a disappointing season right now, but I don't hear a thing about them, about free Dame or anything like that. They're going at Dame as if he needs to get better. The Blazers need to get better. They have a lot of injuries. The Blazers need to play better. You see CP3 over there with the Suns. They hit a roadblock with Devin Booker being out. But what did he do? He stepped up, became the leader of that team, and he took over to win some of those important games that they needed to win. Now, we know Bradley Beal signed that re-up contract last year, knowing that the team is mediocre from jump. We all knew this. There was no surprise that they were a mediocre team, but we all thought that they would be a lot better, especially me. So he should have put that pressure on the organization back then to get more talent. But at some point, it's just about the guys on the floor. They just got to play better. They got to give more effort on the defensive end. But it starts at the top, as it does with any franchise. So with all that being said, Bradley Beal can put a little bit more effort on the defensive end. The season is nowhere over to me. It's a quarter mark. It's a quarter way into the season. They're technically 3 or 4 games back now from the A-seeded Hornets. Beal is the leader of the team, and he's got to take a little bit of accountability. Keep that same frustrated energy, become the leader that we all know you can be, and win some games. The Suns went into the bubble last year with a young Devin Booker, went 8-0 when they know they had to win every important game in order to get in. So Bradley, the Wizards can do something like that. You can get on the street, you can play better. Everybody can galvanize the team, and any team can get hot at any point. So, Beal, you're better than this. The Wizards, you're better than this. Play better. Moving on. I got to talk about those Milwaukee Bucks a little bit because I've been a little bit disappointed in them, and I've been a little bit disappointed in Giannis this season. I can't front. Something is off with this team when I watch them. They're still third in the East, still having an exceptional season, but they look a little bit tight as a team when I watch them. Now, Giannis has gotten better, but he hasn't really improved on his game, if you get what I mean. Now, he's still a phenomenal talent, affects the game in so many ways on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, but he's losing the mental and cerebral battle of being a superstar player this season. Now, to me, he looks like he's a little bit in his head, and he's pressing a little bit. Last year's disappointing loss to Miami definitely did something to him mentally. Winning back-to-back MVPs and going out in that fashion against the Heat wasn't a good look. Miami used a strategic game plan. Coach Spo used a strategic game plan against him, against his strengths, and it worked perfectly. Now, coming into the season, I don't know, or I haven't seen how the Bucks and Giannis counteract a strategy like that out. When we analyze Giannis's game in the half court, still doesn't have a go-to move, doesn't look as confident in his three-point shot, despite shooting 4 per game, career low in his free throw percentage. I believe he's shooting 59%, and he looks visibly frustrated when he's missing these shots. Differently this season than he did in previous seasons. Now, when I look at that, the streets can't see you sweat like that, Giannis. You got to figure out a way to dominate the game, both ends of the floor, which you do, but also do it in a fashion where you're not visibly frustrated as well when it's not going your way. We see a lot of times when the opposing teams leave a whole lot of space. They saw Ben Simmons in him and Rondo in him and leaving him that much space, daring him to shoot that 3-point shot. And you see him get a little frustrated. You see him get upset. You see his body language changes a little bit. Now, that's a little bit different this season than in previous seasons because before, this next play, keep it moving, keep it going. But now, it bothers him a little bit. So that to me tells me a little bit that the back-to-back MVP narratives, that the Twitter narratives has gotten to his head a little bit. And when I look at his body language towards the end of the game, it's not the same for me as well. Does he even want the rock at the end of the game? A couple of those national televised games that the Bucks had, especially the game against the Nets when they played, right when they did the James Harden trade. Coming down the stretch, I saw a lot of Chris Middleton. I saw some of Dante DiVincenzo, but I definitely didn't see enough of Giannis. Why is that? He's a back-to-back league MVP. He's the best player on that team. A lot of people regard him as a top 2 player in the East. That's got to be your time. That's got to be your time to close. And to me, that goes into him not having a set half-court move. No jab step, no jump baby hook, no turnaround fadeaway. Come on, Giannis. I need to see some improvement from you this season. What is going on? You didn't go in the gym with Brickley like we needed you to go to the gym, and you didn't go with him. So we need to see an offensive improvement from Giannis. Now we look at the Bucks bench. Suspect as well. They still got to make some roster improvements, some roster changes in order to take that next step. After being one of the better defensive teams in the league last season, they ranked 20th in opponents' points per game, and they letting teams shoot almost 40% from 3, second worst in the league. That's not good for the Milwaukee Bucks. They're supposed to be one of the better defensive teams in the league. The past 2 years, they've been top 5 in offense and top 5 in defense. Now we look at their opponents, 76ers, the Nets, the Celtics. They're all great from the three-point line. Now, if the Bucks are giving up that type of percentage from the three-point line, that's not going to bode well for them in the series. You got to start those habits now, and you got to play better from now. Now, it's still early. It's the quarter season mark. They still got time to grow. They still got time to play better. But you got to start that now. And I need Giannis to take the reins again, and I need him to play better. Also, now the stats look great. The stats look sexy. But you got to impact the game in a lot more right now, Giannis. Last season, it took the Bucks 54 games to pick up their 8th loss. Now, 20 games in, they already have 8 losses. That tells you right there it's not the same team. We got to see a change in Milwaukee. Coach Bud got to do better with his offensive game plan and his defensive game plan. Giannis has to get better. Chris Middleton has to step up a little bit more. Jrue Holiday has to insert his will a lot more in this lineup. We got to see the Milwaukee Bucks. They need to make that ascension again and become one of those top teams in the East. Because right now, when I look at the Milwaukee Bucks, I see a sexy second-round exit. And you and I both know that's not good enough for the Milwaukee Bucks. It's finals or bust for that team. Let's be clear. Now, let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets, man. That's the home team. Got to talk about the Nets really quick. I talked a lot about them last episode, but I definitely wanted to touch on them again because they're looking like the most interesting team in the league right now. I can't deny. 3 phenomenal superstar individual talents brought together. We're trying to see how all of this meshes, how all of this works together. I like them, like I said before, but I damn sure don't love them. There are a couple of reasons why. They're extremely talented, though. We know this. 3 of the best scorers ever. Not the 3 best ever, but 3 of the best scorers ever. But I just don't like how they play. And I don't like their roster construction. Now, mind you, with all that being said, they still atop the East, not the number 1 seed, but I believe they're 2nd or 3rd in the East. 2nd seed, I believe. But when I watch this team, 3 things stand out to me for the Brooklyn Nets. Number 1, KD is the 3rd fiddle. I say that reluctantly, but it is what it is. He's still not aggressive enough on that offensive end, and he still allows these 2 guards to dictate when he gets shots. Now, Kyrie doesn't care what anyone thinks. He's going to score when he wants. Harden has been given the keys to the whip, and KD is stuck in the back seat as a guy who just wants to keep everybody happy. Call for the rock, KD. Call for the rock. With that being said, still averaging 30. He's too damn good. Number 2, James Harden has sacrificed nothing Yes, he's leading the league in assists. Yes, he's averaging over 20, over 11 assists since he came to the Brooklyn Nets. And that's not too difficult for him to do. This is James Harden we're talking about, a stat stuffer extraordinaire. And he's used to having a heavy workload. He's used to having the ball in his hands. We know he's used to controlling the offense. And we've already seen this in Houston before. He also has way, way, way too much control over this offense every possession, where he doesn't necessarily need to have that much control every single possession when he's playing with players of this caliber alongside him. When you have a guy like Kyrie next to you, you have a guy like KD next to you. They're both also cerebral players. They don't need you to dictate their shots. Kyrie doesn't care. We notice when Kyrie gets that rock, he may or may not pass it back. May or may not. Who knows? But we'll see how that goes forward. Number 3, Mike D'Antoni is the real head coach of this Brooklyn Nets team. Don't be fooled, family. Don't be fooled. I thought I was watching the Houston Nets the other night playing against the Clippers on TNT, because in D'Antoni-like fashion, their center, DeAndre Jordan, non-existent, and was benched for a forward and Jeff Green to start. Now, we know we've already seen that before. In Houston, PJ Tucker start and Jeff Green being his backup 5. So, typical D'Antoni shit. No coincidence, though. D'Antoni offense, D'Antoni team. Steve Nash is the coach, but you notice I keep saying D'Antoni. Top offensive team in NBA history, the Brooklyn Nets. But also, they're the worst defensive team in NBA history by rating. That's completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Typical D'Antoni style offense. Typical D'Antoni style defense. Lack of effort. Letting your guards dominate the ball, make every offensive decision for the team. How I'm looking at it is this may or may not come back to haunt them at the end of the game, because how I look at it is, if Harden is dominating the whole game, he's not giving it up that easily at the end. You got to come take it from that man. You got to take it. And that's always been KD's problem to me. He struggles to assert himself when I feel like, or when the streets feel like he should. When he does, people clap back at him the same way Draymond did in Golden State. We forgetting what happened when KD and Draymond, I believe they were against the Clippers. Matter of fact, I think they were playing against the Clippers. KD clapped for the rock. Draymond got pissed off that he clapped for the rock because Draymond turned the ball over. KD had something to say in the timeout. Draymond was not happy about it, and he said, "Hold on. You don't call the shots around here, player. We're not respecting your gangster like that." So when KD does get assertive, or when he, I guess maybe he feels like he had enough, he starts clapping to get that rock. We know that's an old schoolyard trick. That's normal. But it's about how the players respect it. Will they respond well and just give it to you and back up? Or are they going to say, "Hold on, fam, I got it too"? Now, that's an important part, because we know KD should be taking those shots at the end of the game. But this is D'Antoni's offense. Harden is D'Antoni's guy. Who knows? We're going to see. Now, a lot of that won't show up when they're playing against regular teams, but when they're playing against elite teams, stuff like that is going to show up in those very important games where every single possession matters. So that's going to be something interesting to watch, man. No team, the Nets, we talked about their lack of defensive effort. I don't think there's ever been a champion that has a below 10, above 10 defensive rating. I forgot what their rating is right now, but I believe it's in the 20s. We have never seen an NBA champion have a defensive rating above 10. Most likely got to be top 5 in both. Now, so we know they're in trouble. They picked up Shumpert. I said it was a good pickup for them. It was the right pickup for them, but it's still not enough. Shumpert doesn't solve anything. I went through the numbers of this Brooklyn Nets team, and I believe they played like 11 to 12 games now since the James Harden trade. And there's been a couple of players that have gotten their career high or have gotten their season high against the Nets. That tells a lot. Quickly over there on the Knicks had a career high against them at that time. Vucevic had his season high against the Nets. Colin Sexton from the Cavs had his season high against the Knicks when he cooked them for 42 and he beat them 2 games in a row. Jarrett Allen had his season high over there against them. Bam Adebayo had his career high against the Brooklyn Nets as well. Cam Reddish had his season high when the Hawks played against them. Even a dude named, I gotta look at my paper, Theo Maledon from OKC, who I've never heard of in my entire life. had a career high against the Brooklyn Nets when they played OKC. And then you had Russ the other night who had his season high against the Brooklyn Nets. So they got to put more effort into that side of the ball, point blank, period. But that's typical. Mike D'Antoni defense, lack of effort, no emphasis on that end. They've got to do better. Now, the offense can get them by, especially to the second round. When we get to that second and that third round, it's going to get tight. What's going to happen? Are they going to lock in on the defensive end? I hope so. We'll see. So let's move on to my NBA All-Stars. Now we're at the quarter mark of the season. Quarter Water Awards, as I called it. We got to talk about the NBA All-Star picks because this year, well, I'm happy now that the NBA are actually having discussions on having an All-Star game sometime in March. I forgot the exact date. They're doing it in Atlanta. They're going to have the All-Star game. I believe the skills competition. I'm not sure if they're going to put the dunk contest and the three-point contest in that night. It's going to be an All-Star night instead of an All-Star weekend. So I'm excited about that. I'm glad they're putting the All-Star votes they have started, but they're a little bit different this year because there's less time. You have to vote. Less of a sample size you have for the All-Stars. So there's going to be, I feel like, quite of a difference of opinion in a lot of people on who should make the All-Star game and who should make the All-Star game because a lot of records in both conferences right now are jumbled up. So let's go over the my Eastern Conference and my Western Conference All-Stars. For the starters, for the East, gotta have KD in there, top 5 in MVP. Gotta have Giannis in there. Gotta have Joel Embiid in there. I'm gonna go Jaylen Brown, and I'm gonna go Kyrie, rounding out my top 5. I think Jaylen Brown's first appearance at the All-Star game is warranted. I gave him the starting spot over Tatum because of games. Jaylen Brown has been there their entire season. He hasn't missed any games due to injury. I believe he only missed something due to COVID. But other than that, he's been a horse. He's been the most consistent player for the Celtics all year, and he deserves his first All-Star nod, and he deserves to be a starter. He deserves it. So shout out to Jaylen Brown for having a career year over there in Boston and holding down the fort when Tatum was out and when Kemba Walker was out. So shout out to Jaylen Brown. For the West, my All-Star starters. Got to start off with LeBron James. Even though he's coasting this season, he's still having a phenomenal year. What he's giving you? 25, 7, and 7 on a light year for LeBron. They're either second or third in the Western Conference right now because the Jazz are number 1. The Clippers, I believe, are number 2, or they tied with the Lakers since they had that loss the other day. Got to start with LeBron as my starter, of course. I got to go to Joker, Nikola Jokic. He's damn near averaging a triple-double this season. He's having a phenomenal year for the Nuggets. They had a little bit of a slow start, came along a lot better, but Jokic has been dominating. He's really been controlling that offense for the Denver Nuggets. He's taken a leap forward this season after performing so well in the Western Conference Finals. So I got to give the Joker some love, and he needs to be a starter this season for the All-Star game. After that, I got Kawhi. Kawhi is playing well this season. I believe he's averaging 25, 5, and 5. The Clippers are number 2 in the West. They had a slightly slow start, not really a slow start, but a kind of a mediocre kind of start for them. But they've definitely coming along in the last couple of weeks. PG is playing excellent basketball. Kawhi Leonard has been phenomenal. They're playing a lot better. Their offense is revamped under Ty Lue instead of Doc Rivers. So they're playing really well. Got to have Kawhi in there. Rounding out the starting 5 in the backcourt, I got to have Steph Curry in there. He's playing very well. He's scoring at a phenomenal rate. He's been unstoppable on the offensive end. Very hard. You really have to gear your defense to stopping Steph as soon as he passes the half-court line. We know he's a phenomenal three-point threat. We know that he's gotten a little bit better this season in facilitating. He's had to take on a little bit more of a responsibility this season with Draymond being out. Draymond coming back in now, but still I see Steph doing a better job of facilitating these last couple of games, these last couple of weeks. So I got to give him credit there. And he's most definitely a starter in the All-Star game. And the Warriors are in the playoff race right now. So got to give him love there. Rounding out the top 5, I'm going to go with Dame Lillard. I still think he's having a phenomenal season. Even though the Blazers are underachieving a little bit. I believe they're like borderline 8th or 9th seed in 8th or 9th seed in the West right now. But Lillard is still having a phenomenal year. When I look at Dame, right, what I've seen from him this season, I feel like he's upped his facilitating this season. He's trying to work on becoming a better game manager, especially in the half court. Now, he isn't elite yet at game managing. But when I say elite, I mean like a guy like a Chris Paul. A guy like him is elite at managing the game. LeBron James, elite at managing the game. Dame Lillard, he still has a ways to go in terms of that aspect of just leading his team, controlling the pace of the game. Too many times I've seen Dame Lillard dribble to score rather than dribble to pass. And right now, with the Blazers being dismantled with injuries, CJ's going to be out for a while. Nurkic is out for a while. Zach Collins is always out. He has to now alter his game in a way that makes everybody else better. CJ is out. Trent steps in. Trent should be getting about 20 shots tonight because he's a scorer. That's where he's best. That's what his offense fuels his defense. Melo, he needs his touches. His offense fuels his defense. Everybody else, get in where you fit in. So Dame Lillard, I've been very excited to see his growth this season, but he's still got to do a little bit of a better job because the Blazers should be better. And they still got time to go, so we'll see. Rounding out the bench, I'm going to go for the East. Number 1 spot, I got to give it to Jason Tatum. He's still in my top 5 in MVP in MVP voting. I'm going to talk about him in a few more minutes. So number 1 off the bench, definitely got to be Jason Tatum. Gonna go Harden right after that. I was debating whether I should put him as a starter or off the bench, but he hasn't had enough games in the East yet. So I'm going to keep him off the bench because I think Kyrie has been having a better season than James Harden. His efficiency is off the charts. So Harden. Got to have Trae Young in there. He's playing phenomenal basketball. I love to see him playing winning basketball this season. He's been playing a lot better. He's been facilitating. He's always been facilitating, but he's making those winning plays this season. He's making Clint Capella look really good. John Collins is still looking good. They've had a couple of injuries to Bogdanovich. Cam Reddish is a year older. DeAndre Hunter is a year older. The Red Velvet has gotten better this season. So I'm looking for the Hawks to definitely make a playoff push, and he's definitely earned his all-star spot. Coming off the bench, got to throw Bradley Beal in there. I was debating on having him as a starter, leading the league in scoring, but I got to reward winning. The Wizards are last in the Eastern Conference right now. I cannot put you as a starter when your team is last in the conference. I just can't do it. I don't care how many points you're averaging. He's averaging 35. Ridiculous right now, but I don't care. You got to win more games than that. So he can easily go up to that top spot and take over Kyrie's starting spot. But I got to see some more wins from the Wizards, man. Come on, Bradley Beal. Give me something. All right? I know you're scoring out of your mind. That leadership, my brother. Up that leadership. Rounding out 3 more top spots. 3 more spots off the bench in the East. I'm going Zach LaVine right here, man. First, I think he was snubbed last year. He should have made it last year, but there were a couple of guys ahead of him. I wish he would have made it last year, but this is the year Zach LaVine has got to make it. The Bulls should be in the play-in this season. I hope so. LaVine is having a phenomenal season. 25, 5-5, I believe. Shooting over 50% from the floor as a shooting guard, as a number 1 offensive option is phenomenal. He deserves this all-star spot. So let's get him in there. Let's get him his first all-star nod. Also, I know this team is underachieving. I know this team has been a little bit disappointing. They were my guys last year. They helped fulfill the prophecy last year. But I still got to show some love to the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo is still an all-star caliber player. Now, I would have had Jimmy Butler in this type of spot. But Jimmy has been hurt this season. He hasn't been the same this season. The last couple of games, he's coming back strong. He's been playing well. The Heat have kind of been playing better, but not good enough. They have to get into the playoffs. It'll be an utter, major, disrespectful disappointment if the Heat don't make the playoffs after having a finals run last year. Now, all of those naysayers will start saying the Miami Heat, their run to the finals was a bubble fluke. They were already saying that last year. Don't let them be right, Jimmy. Don't let them be right, Bam. I don't think it was a fluke last year. I thought you guys played exceptional. I thought it was the right time for you guys to be in the NBA Finals. You guys played your ass off. This year, You guys haven't had a lot of time with the core. Dragic, the Dragon, has missed some time. Hero has missed some time. Jimmy Butler has missed a lot of time. Bam, you've been holding down the fort, but you guys got to get it together right now because you don't want to let this season slip by, and now you're scrapping or you have to play a playing game in order to get into the playoffs. So the Heat, let's get it together, fellas. But I still got Bam as an all-star. Rounding out the bench, I had to put Ben Simmons in there. I had to reward Ben Simmons because even though he hasn't improved his game the same way Giannis, he's still the same way. He hasn't gotten to the gym with Brickley. He hasn't improved his offensive shot. He hasn't improved his three-point shot. He still ain't hit those 5 threes as we talked about early in the season. Still no, I believe he's hit 1, maybe 2. 1 or 2, but that's still not enough. It's the quarter mark, and he doesn't have a quarter of the threes that he's supposed to hit. So it's bad. So Ben Simmons, I'm still going to give you a nod, though, because you still affect the game in so many ways. You still are playing exceptional all-NBA caliber defense, so I got to give you love there. Round out the top, round out the bench with Ben Simmons. Western Conference. PG-13. He's been playing phenomenal for the Clippers. As I said before, they're second in the West. He's been playing excellent. He came into the season talking shit. He went on All the Smoke podcast, said he's ready for the smoke for anyone. He said he's ready for this season. He's about to be on y'all ass this season. And we see PG stepping up, man. I like how he's performing. I like how his confidence this season. And we'll see. I hope he can sustain it. But we don't judge PG on the regular season. We judge him playoff P in the postseason. So let's make sure you sustain this, my brother. Let's keep it going. I got Donovan Mitchell coming off the bench. The Jazz are number 1 in the entire league. Has the number 1 record in the entire league. You got to give them some love. Donovan Mitchell has been playing exceptional basketball. He's been playing as a more cerebral player. He's been more improved on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball. He's getting others involved. The Jazz are hitting their threes. They're one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the league. They got Bogdanovich back. Ingles is playing better. Conley is playing better. Royce O'Neal is playing better. Gobert is playing better. Trying to earn that check. But the Jazz has been exceptional, and I got to show them some love. So definitely having Donovan Mitchell as an all-star. I got Luka in there as an all-star. Now, everybody knows I'm a little bit critical of Luka because I don't like how the media has already crowned him as the clear front runner for MVP earlier in the season. And we see now, there's levels to this. It's hard to be that superstar player and lead your team and elevate your team and be the number 1 guy every single night and have the opposing defense gunning for you. So they're going to be nice when you're frustrated. They're going to be nice when your team doesn't play well, but you got to push through that. So now we're seeing Luka go through these leadership growing pains, and he's still young. He's still young. So Luka has plenty of years to go, but pump the brakes on the MVP talk. We need to see the Mavs make that leap forward, and we need to see his cohesion and chemistry with KP for 50 or so games, not a few games here and there, not a couple of spot minutes. We got to see some offensive movement from the Dallas Mavericks. We got to see some ball movement. We got to see Luka stop holding the ball. We got to stop seeing him being James Harden in Dallas. We got to start seeing Luka stop whining to the refs. We got to see Luka become that leader that he was overseas. Just be that guy, Luka. Moving on. Gotta have AD, of course. Lakers top 3 in the West. I feel like there's nothing else to be said. AD, I've noticed, though, has been a little bit different this season. He's not the same. He doesn't have the same ferocity as last year. I think maybe because he's actively taken a step back due to the abundance of talent on that Lakers team, because that's a talented team, man. Everybody needs their shot. So that could be due to that. But I'm sure in the playoffs, AD is going to step up and AD is going to be that guy that we know. But he's still an all-star. Now, the last 3 spots, I had to think about it a little bit. Number 1, I got to go with my man CP3. Listen, I know y'all going to say maybe I'm tripping about having the CP3 as an all-star, but I'm not. Look at these past couple of games he's been having. Booker's been out. They went in there in Dallas, the back-to-back games in Dallas. He scored 30 points both games, 9 and 9. He had 12 assists one of the other games. CP3 has been playing phenomenal. He's single-handedly taking over that team right now. Now he's officially become the leader of the Phoenix Suns team, in my opinion. It was Devin Booker's team up until this point. But now CP3 realizes that he needs to be aggressive in order for the Suns to take that next leap and become that team that they can be right now. They can. DeAndre Ayton is taking a leap forward. He's definitely and shout out to him for not taking it personal. Not taking it personal with him getting yelled at every game, every time out. He's got to be yelled at the most in the league right now. Between him and Joe Harris, I don't see any other player who gets yelled at the most between timeouts, between possessions by the coaching staff, by the players. Like, it's crazy. But shout out to him for taking it like a G, taking it on the chin, and still playing the way that the team needs him to play. So shout out to DeAndre Ayton for that. I gotta have SGA as an all-star. Listen, man, I know the Thunder right now are not the sexy pick to have an all-star, but he's been playing phenomenal. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out there in OKC. Now, we all know the OKC Thunder was left for dead, same way they were last year, 0.02 chance to make the playoffs. But right now, looking at the standings right now, they have a chance to make it. They're better than the Mavericks. They're better than a lot of teams in the Western Conference right now, standings-wise. So a lot of that is SGA. He's been playing phenomenal basketball. So I feel like he deserves an all-star spot this season, in my opinion. And rounded out, I feel like it's a three-way tie between Devin Booker, Ja Morant, or Zion Williamson. I think it was tough because any one of these young guys could play a lot better. Devin Booker has missed some time, and he hasn't been as offensively aggressive as we know him to be. He's just still finding his way, which is fine. Ja Morant, I would love for him to be an all-star this season. He was my pick to be an all-star, but I can't put him there yet because he's only played in 8 or 10 games this season. Not enough yet. He's been out due to an ankle injury. So Ja Morant can easily take that spot. And Zion Williamson actually has been playing well, even though the Pelicans are not playing up to expectations this season. He's shooting 58% from the floor this season, which is, I think one of the best in NBA history through 40 games or something like that. So you got to give Zion credit there. He's been playing excellent. Brandon Ingram has also been playing excellent next to him. Him and Steven Adams are an interesting front court, the pairing between those two, but I still feel like they need time to get better. And I never had the Pelicans I never had the Pelicans in the playoffs anyway. So I'm not surprised that they're not there. So that last all-star spot is definitely up for grabs. Christian Wood over there in Houston could also take that spot as well. Maybe John Wall, maybe DeMar DeRozan, who's also having an excellent season in San Antonio. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting who gets these all-star spots, and definitely somebody's going to be snubbed as usual, but we'll see. Those are the Above the Rim Pod all-stars right there. So my first quarter water MVP award for the quarter of the season, I got to give it to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid from the 76ers. I got to show them some love, man, because I'm very hard on Joel Embiid, man, because I know a lot of people shout to me about Joel Embiid. They're big Joel Embiid fans, but I'm hard on him because I always feel like his conditioning is not up to par, and I always don't feel like he always puts in the effort that I need him to put. But this season, I like what I'm seeing for Joel Embiid. Doc Rivers must have gotten in his ass this summer, and I like it. I'm not complaining at all. He's averaging over 30 minutes per game, which I said that's something that he needed to do. And it's definitely important for the postseason, because when we get to the postseason, he's got to be playing at least 32 to 35 minutes a night in order for your team to advance, in order for your team to win. And these past couple of seasons, he's been playing under 30 minutes. For a superstar player, you should be playing over 30 minutes easy. Chris Paul at 34, 35 years old is playing over 32 minutes. LeBron at over 35 years old is playing 35 minutes a night. He should be playing more minutes. He's a young guy. He's still in his 20s. He needs to be playing more. But he has been this season. He's giving you 28 and 11, shooting 40% from three as a big man. Philly is number 1 in the East. I saw a stat that Philly was 14-2 when Joel Embiid plays, and like 0-4, 0-5 when he doesn't. That's exceptional. That's phenomenal. That shows impact. That means when you are on the floor, your team plays better, and your team wins. So I got to show him some love on that, real talk. So he is my quarter water MVP for the first quarter of the season, Joel Embiid. They had a big win over the Lakers too on national TV. Shout out to Tobias, J. Cole for hitting that game-winning shot. That was amazing. That was a great game to watch. I know he's had like 4 or 5 games with over 35. Joel Embiid, and he's been playing phenomenal, man. So I gotta show him some love. And he's definitely right now. He should be number 1 in MVP rankings to me. So we'll see how it goes. And it looks like they have the right team around him. But let's see if he's available for the whole season. Because we know the Philadelphia 76ers, their Achilles heel is always health. Health and coaching. They solved the coaching aspect. Let's see how they do with the health. So we'll see. And I got to say, too, on that MVP train and on that MVP tracker, I'm still on that Jason Tatum train. Don't be fooled, people. I know Jaylen Brown's having all the success right now. I know he's killing the streets right now. I know he's having a career high, career season. I said before, I'm putting him as a starter in the All-Star game, but I think by season's end, Jason Tatum is still going to be that guy. I said he needed to average 29, 9 and 4. He's close to it. He just came out of COVID protocol. He's still getting his feet wet back to be, but he has to take right now, he has to take a step back in order for Jaylen Brown to actually succeed, because Jaylen Brown is off the charts. So you got to let your man shine. So I love that Jason Tatum is doing that easily. And Jaylen Brown the Celtics and Jaylen Brown are going to be better for it. Now, the Celtics, they're third or fourth in the East right now. They've had a lot of injuries. Kemba just came back, but he needs to step up. Marcus Smart just went out. That's going to be a big blow for them. So I got high hopes for the Celtics this season. I think they're going to be at the end when it's all said and done, especially for the Eastern Conference. But they still need to acquire a starting caliber center. I think if they acquire one starting caliber center, they're going to be the best team in the East, rivaling those Nets. A real quick point on LeBron too. Since we talking about MVP, I know I'm saying Joel Embiid and I'm talking all the Jason Tatum shit right now, but who are we kidding? Come on. Who the hell are we kidding? We know damn well LeBron is going to get that MVP award. Come on. He got snubbed last year for Giannis, giving him back-to-back MVP awards. We know that the MVP is a narrative award, so LeBron is definitely going to get the MVP at the end of the season, especially if the Lakers are number 2 seed, number 1 or 2 seed in the West. Definitely in the league is going to get that. He's averaging a season low in minutes, and he's still putting up 25, 7 and 7. Typical, calm, easy, dominating LeBron numbers. This guy is just a freak of nature, man. It's really crazy. So who am I kidding? He definitely getting that MVP, but I would like to see Tatum. I would like to see Joel Embiid get up there. But we'll see, man. And by the way, that courtside Karen shit was hilarious, I must say. It was hilarious. He definitely gave us some good laughs out there in Atlanta, man. That shit was hilarious. But LeBron, shout out to you for handling that like a gent. And keep hooping, man. It's going to be interesting, man. It's the quarter mark of the season. Like I said before, this is probably the most competitive season that we've had in a long time. Seeds 1 through 8 in both conferences are going to be very tight. And every game is important right now. Going into not even the stretch run of the season, going into the halfway point of the season. Every single game is important. So we'll see how all these teams step up. We'll see if some teams play better. We'll see if some teams start getting affected by injuries, COVID protocols, or just having a slump. We'll see, man. The NBA is definitely sticky, man. So keep it locked each and every week. Above the Rim family, cop your hoodies, cop your merch. Use the code. What was the code? I'm already forgetting the code. Black20, BLK20. BLK20. Make sure y'all type in the code. 20% off your hoodies, merch, link in my bio, all that good stuff. Hit me with your comments. Hit me with your DMs. Hit me with your messages. Email the show, calling Above the Rim line 908-718-1592. Family, send me your hate mail, all that good stuff. Episode 143. And we at